Are kids more anxious, depressed, and stressed than ever before? Are we messing up their childhood by giving them way too much screen time? As a mom, I wanted to know this. Am I giving my kid too much screen time? And what effects is this having on them? So in today's video, I'm going to take a deep dive and share what I learned.
Phones, screens, we've done it. Stop having to go at young people for being too messed up to go out the house. And we've given them screens right at the most dangerous point of their life, 11 to 15, when their adolescent social connective brains are growing. Instagram, roadblocks, social media, games, f***ing anxiety.
The rates of anxiety and depression in our children are exploding exponentially. More than 95% of people age 13 and up use social media, and a third of our teenagers say they use it, quote, almost constantly.
Since 2010, major depression in girls is up 145%. In boys, it's up 161%. Also, suicide rates in 10 to 14-year-olds since 2010 is up 91% in boys and 167% in girls. These statistics are alarming if you're a parent. Obviously, as a parent, we all want happy, healthy, anxious-free children, but we're doing something wrong. So when I say screen time, that's not a new term. In the 1990s, people were talking about screen time and they were worried kids were going to be fat and lazy. They were watching too much TV and playing too much Mario Kart. But things are so different now because there is a screen everywhere. On your phone, on your wrist, at school, at home, they're everywhere, including even when you're pumping gas, you get to be entertained. But the difference now is there's an algorithm that's following you. It's making your kids want to be online more. It knows what makes them happy and what will make them click. It also knows what makes them sad.
Well, I grew up in the 90s and we had unlimited screen time. We had the TV on all the time. But when I left the house, you know what my TV couldn't do? It couldn't come with me. When my mom told me that we needed to go run errands, I had to sit in the back of the car seat and stare out the window.
The singular use technology you don't really know or can't be a part of what your kids are watching.
This addiction means they're spending way more time on a screen and a lot less time in the real world. Play is the work of children, and all young mammals have the same job. Wire up your brains by playing vigorously and often. And if you've ever been around young children, they are vigorous and often. So kids need to be outside playing with their peers. They are building tree houses, playing games, falling down, getting up, and every time these little inconveniences happen, they build resilience and confidence. So as they go out into their real world and they encounter stressors, they can handle it because they're not afraid of uncomfortable feelings.
This is a controversial opinion, but I think that social media has literally ruined my generation and the way that people communicate. If I could go back and choose to live in a time where social media wasn't a thing and didn't exist, I would 100% choose that over this weird world that we're all living in.
We are losing the art of that. Now, kids choose to DM or text when something feels a little uncomfortable, and then you can just wait a week to reply if you don't really like what was said.
Gen Zs are now taking classes on how to make phone calls. So it's called telephobia, and it's a fear or anxiety around making and receiving telephone calls. 75% of them say they never answer a phone call. But this is causing problems for when employers reach out for interviews, or Gen Zs have to make a phone call to make a dentist appointment or something. And many students struggle with phone interviews because they haven't had the chance to practice. So now workshops are being held to help them feel more confident with students practicing everyday calls like making doctor's appointments.
Adolescents and kids are losing the ability to even talk to adults. In fact, I was at Chick-fil-A the other day ordering, and the lady who took my order said teens come in and stand behind their friends and quietly order, or they get their friend to order for them. Those are skills they were supposed to learn during free play as a child, and now they are entering adulthood and they do not even know how to talk to someone.
Have you ever heard of menu anxiety? Because the New York Post just put out an article claiming that many of Gen Z are too scared to order their own meals. Now, at first, this sounded like an insane claim, so I read the article and here's a summary. Now, the article is based on a study done by Prezzo, a restaurant chain in the UK, and in the study they surveyed 2,000 people ages 18 to 24. Of the 2,000 responses, 86% of Gen Z said that they feel anxiety when ordering, and that 34% of Gen Z says that they get so anxious when ordering that they need someone else to order for them.
This is the greatest irony of social media. The more you immerse yourself in it, the more lonely and depressed you become. And the statistics show this. Dopamine is like a drug. So as your kids get more and more dopamine hits, they need more and more to feel okay. And as they transfer offline into school and chores, they become very irritable because they're missing that dopamine hit that just regular life is not offering them.
As a kindergarten teacher, if there's one piece of advice I could give parents, please stop giving your children iPads, technologies, and screens whenever they want them. Ages 0 to 5 are some of the very most important years of your child's development, and the worst thing you can do for them is stick them in front of an iPad all day. I always tell parents every toy should be 90% child, 10% toy. Things like puzzles, blocks, Legos, dolls.
Every time you have like a hit, like even a ring on your cell phone, or, like when you get your text, you get a dopamine hit for that.
Yeah.
And it interrupts their sleep. And if they're not getting good quality sleep, of course, they're not going to be able to focus in class. Of course, they're not going to be able to emotionally regulate as well.
So you have these two areas in your brain called the nucleus accumbens, and they respond to dopamine. And they bring you happiness, and they bring you pleasure, and they bring you motivation, and they bring you drive. Well, the more you do it, pretty soon, you thrill them to death. You begin to wear out those pleasure centers. You have an increased risk of anxiety, depression, addiction, obesity, ADHD, teenage suicide, and mental health problems, especially in teenage girls. Social media.
The evidence-based benefits of screen time for little kids. And yes, you heard me right. I said benefits of screen time. So there's a bunch of studies now emerging that say that early touchscreen use is actually great for physical development, particularly fine motor skills.
This study shows exactly what happens to a baby's brain when exposed to screen time before the age of 12 months.
Television shows that are really well made, Sesame Street, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, Bluey, are all designed in consultation with developmental scientists, and they use a bunch of evidence-based tools. Maintaining and engaging attention are not bad things.
In my home, screen time is not a treat. Screen time is there, their iPad and their phone, the TV is widely available. And because it's not treated as a reward or a treat or something that's junky, it has kind of lost its value. And because it's lost its value, most of the time they see it as boring, so they want to go do something like play outside, play on their scooters, go dig in the garden, play blocks, play trains, color. And because we've taken away the fact that it could be a treat, they don't get addicted to it.
This study started with 400 pregnant women and followed their children from birth till the age of 9. When the babies reached 12 months of age, they asked the parents how much time did their kids spend on screens, weekends or weekdays. When the babies reached 18 months old, they did an EEG to study the brainwaves, and you wouldn't believe what they found. Looked at the amount of screen time these babies had, they found that the amount of theta waves, which are the slower frequency waves, was higher in the babies that had more screen time, all the way up to 4 hours, versus the faster beta waves. Now, this high theta to beta wave ratio has been also found in kids with ADHD and is related to low attention. The more screen time the babies had, the more the theta waves were present compared to the beta waves, which has been responsible for decreased attention and lower executive function.
And as someone who has ADHD and my children have ADHD, they get overwhelmed. And who doesn't want to lay down sometimes for a day and watch your phone or your iPad or a show?
Because the dopamine kick that we all get from looking at screens, you've just come in and gone, well, you haven't done your homework, I'm taking that away or whatever. And they literally experience a massive loss, and a chemical called acetylcholine, which actually makes us angry. So it's understanding that if you do that, we've given our kids screens. If you take them away, we've set up the addict, and then now we're going to take your substance away. So we have to recognize how serious this is.
That's carrying into adulthood, where you cannot emotionally regulate yourself. You cannot be at a stressful level and self-soothe to come down. That's a huge problem for adults, for interactions in your life, and for being able to achieve basically anything, because life is going to be stressful.
A week goes by and I noticed that her temperament is just so much better. She was just so much easier to reason with. Like, there were no tantrums. It was crazy. Don't mean to shame any mom. Trust me, like, I have been there. I've depended on TV too. I learned that when they're sitting watching and you think, oh wow, like they're so calm and peaceful, look at them just watching TV like that, it's because their brains can't process what they're watching.
Unfortunately, as a teacher, I've seen so many negative effects of having too much screen time. Specifically, I'm thinking about my kids that play video games pretty much from the time they get home to the time they go to bed. Those kids by far have a harder time regulating their emotions throughout the school day. By far.
I see screen time as a tool rather than a default, meaning that if I need to wash the dishes, I'm gonna put a movie on for him. Or if I have something else in the house that I need to do, like fold laundry or whatever, because it's something enjoyable for him to do, and then I can get things done that I need to do as a responsible parent. I do a lot more screen time than I had originally planned when I had him, but that's because I didn't intend on being a single parent.
The schools cannot fix this. This is a parent-child issue.
Constant interruptions and notifications are interrupting real-life conversations. As a kid gets a notification or a ping, they will pick up their phone because what's on the screen is more important than the conversation they're having. This is causing attention fragmentation throughout their whole life.
As somebody who spent 10 years in education, screen time is absolutely hindering your child's ability to learn, to comprehend the world around them, to maintain focus, to interact with their peers. It is impacting their behavior. Point blank.
The decimation of human attention around the world might even be a bigger cost to humanity than the mental health and mental illness epidemic, because people do not have attention to do anything long-term. That's long-term conversations, or for students, it's schoolwork to sit down and focus. Often kids have more than one thing happening at the same time. They are watching TV while on their phone. They are doing homework with a million tabs open.
Probably when he was 12, definitely 13, definitely 14, and we waited until he was 15. We tried to look at the upfalls and the downfalls. We said, look, it's not like sending your kid off to college, but it is sending your kid out with a bunch of strangers into the world.
Yeah.
The main thing was this: go live your life, Levi, and if you're doing something you think's worth sharing, then share. But don't wake up every morning going like, what can I do that would be a good share?
It's not living. It's like we always talk about this because we're actually following your lead.
Yeah.
I have a 10-year-old. She won't be getting even a phone for a long time.
Yeah.
She knows that.
Yep.
But also, I want her to live in this world.
Yeah. Get the identity live first.
Yes.
You know, we're talking about with the book and stuff. This is when the kids, just when they're forming the identity.
Yeah.
If you're on the social media too early, the world's telling you.
Totally.
A lot of strangers are telling you who you are.
Yeah.
Should you feel confident about yourself? Should you not feel?
Yeah.
That's the tail wagging the dog.
But also, I don't want her just scrolling. I want her to writing songs or reading.
Attention span is a big thing. They get on too early, the attention span it becomes way too short if they're on it too early.
As kids get more into adolescent and teen years, they are going to struggle with comparison, and the online social media and internet will definitely make you feel a lot worse about yourself. Kids begin to look at this curated version online and they begin to feel very self-conscious about their uncurated life. So therefore, they retract in a lot. They don't want to be in social situations because they don't want people to see the true them. Girls fall victim to this comparison mentality in social media more than guys do. For boys, it's not as much social media as it is online gaming and pornography that takes their attention from the real world.
I think that when you're on Instagram, you're like constantly comparing yourself to the progress of others. If they're, getting married, if they're, having a baby, if they're buying a house, it's so easy to be like, oh my God, that should be me too. Like, oh my God, I'm so behind in life. But then you have to remember that people are only posting good things that they want you to see. They're not posting about the struggles that are going on in here, how they're actually feeling, because it's too real. It's too real. So yeah, I would suggest if you're feeling any type of way about anything, just log off, deactivate for a little bit, and take some time for yourself.
Why are we all becoming the same person?
Can we please go back to the day where everybody looked different?
Everybody is starting to get the same fillers, Botox, and plastic surgery, and everyone is starting to look the same.
Now everybody got the same big ass cookie cutter teeth.
We have lost true authenticity.
I just miss people's unique traits that made them, that made it fun, that made everybody look different.
I think there comes a point when we strive so much to be like what we see on the internet, when in reality the internet's fake.
Instead of kids discovering who they are and who they want to be, they're being told who they should be. And you see this across all aspects as everything is kind of samey.
Human brain was not designed for social media at all. You're not supposed to wake up in the morning, pick up your phone, 10 minutes into your day and you're convinced the world is ending, your anxiety's through the roof, you feel lonely, and you haven't even gone outside yet, and then you do go outside and the sun is shining, people are smiling and laughing, the birds are chirping, absolutely nothing is wrong.
I lived in this life with social media as a teenager, and I know the effects that it has on the kids. I've seen them. They be saying some crazy stuff, right? Crazy stuff. I'd be like, do y'all parents know you saying that? Of course not, because no one's paying attention.
We've stopped protecting our children's childhood. They're supposed to be playing Barbies and Legos, but now they're getting subjected to real-world tragic events on a daily basis. Their minds are too young to comprehend that and know what to do with that. I remember hearing news as a child that stuck with me my whole life, but that was maybe 1 or 2 events. This is every day, and these are major events. It's making them scared to go out in the real world, and we are not protecting them from that. We're letting it just bombard their young brains.
Once you give your child a smartphone, the technology is so much fun. It's so addictive because you get the rapid feedback and the great colors. So once you give your child their own personal iPhone or iPad or tablet, it will move to the center of their lives, and it will stay there for the rest of their lives. So parents have to be thoughtful. Is the age 6? At what age do I want my child to withdraw from the real world and spend? Now teenagers are spending 5 hours a day just on social media, about 9 hours a day on their phones, and half of them say they're online almost constantly. So what do you want to start that? Because once you start it, you get all the conflicts that you.
Or is this
well, the way to think about this is what kids really, really need is play and social interaction in the real world, face to face, wrestling, putting their arms around their friends. All that stuff plummets after 2012 because kids are spending all day, even at school, they're doing this at school. They're not playing with their friends as much. So they need play in the real world.
10 years old and I got an iPhone 6.
8th grade, a flip phone.
I was 12 and I was in the 5th grade and it was an LG phone.
I think I was 11 and then an iPhone 8. 12 and I had a Samsung.
11 years old and I got Huawei. It was when I was 13 and the name of the phone was a Ray. I was in 5th grade and I had a Samsung Galaxy. In 4th grade and I got an iPhone 7.
12 or 13 and it was an iPhone 7.
I got my first phone, I was 14 and it's the current one I have right now, which is an iPhone 8. In 6th grade, I got a Samsung. I was in 6th grade and I got the iPhone SE.
I was 11. I think I was in 4th grade, so 11. 8th grade, so 13, 14.
Got my first phone in 6th grade, so I was 13.
Probably 3rd or 3rd grade.
I was in 6th grade, but it was late because everyone else had a phone already. Everyone would text to hang out and I was never invited.
So you felt alienated?
Yeah, totally.
I think I was 14.
And do you feel like, in retrospect, that was too early, too late, or just right?
I think that was just right. I don't think I would have benefited from having a phone any time before that.
I was 12, I think. I think I could have done with waiting longer, but I think I just annoyed my parents into getting me.
I was in 8th grade, so 13, 14.
And do you think that was too early, too late, just right?
Back then I thought it was too late, but when I see what my friends posted on social media when they were in middle school, I'm really glad that I was in 8th grade.
I was 12 or 13. I think I was in 7th grade. I honestly feel like it was a little bit too early. A proper age might be 15, once you start maturing, but
I don't know. I don't think it was a terrible age. I feel like anything under like 13, that was ridiculous.
Realistically, at some point, your kid's going to need a phone. There's a movement, Wait Till 8th, where they encourage not to give kids a phone until 8th grade. And I think that's great. And then they even suggest delaying social media till even later. When they do get a phone, it can be a dumb phone or a phone that's not connected to the internet. That way you can still get in touch with them and they can get in touch with you. And even Steve Jobs didn't want his kids to have an iPad and iPhone. So what did he know that we didn't? I know limiting screen time is hard. It's something we struggle with. And I know modeling good behavior with screens is hard. It's something we struggle with. But sometimes as a parent, you have to do the hard things because you love your children and you want what's best for them. So let's try to put our screens down, delay screens for them, go outside, play, let them have some structured adventures out there that let them experience some risk. But these are all my opinions. How do you feel? Do you limit screen time? Do you think screens are fine and there's no harm? Do you think kids are more or less anxious than they used to be? Share your opinions, start a conversation down below, and enlighten me if there's something I haven't thought about. Thank you and have a great day.